I would like to take this opportunity first to tell you why I am doing this and what is my goal on doing this and connecting with you. Where am I coming from? I'm coming from a sequence of days where I feel very similar to those days where I used to be in academic research, and I had the chance of taking some time and read and reflect on the papers that were being published and that had been published many, many years before my time. I was within an institution with great experts in different fields. I had opportunity to ask questions directly and to enter into a discussion that felt very exciting and sometimes very problematic if my goal was to get to proper answers. And with my research, and in particular with my PhD project, I learned that the very, very important factor to my own development as a scientist was my ability to ask the right questions. And you may know that very often in research, it's not just the answers that we get to some of those questions, but above all, the process that has us thinking, debating, stipulating new hypotheses. And in that process, not only we try to answer the specific questions, but also there's something that happens laterally, which is our expansion, our wide learning process, not just about our theme of research, but also of many other areas that intertwine with our own. And this is something that I bring into my practice as a professional, and I bring into my work as a therapist and as a consultant in the areas of natural health and also in the areas of relationships. And why are they so important? Well, as you may have gathered from my work before, they are very important because we have an emotional body and a physical body, and both impact on each other. And the way we live and experience our life in this existence and in this body and in this mind show that both need to be supported. Our body, our physical existence, and our emotional body. And that comes very often, it's highlighted by the way we relate to others and how we are within our community, what kind of support we get, our sense of contribution to our community, all these factors that make us feel part of the whole and make us feel part of that community, that feed back to us our role and our ability to be recognized, to be connected with others. They all bring to us an expansion of factors that may affect our general health. So during these 5 days, from today till Friday, my goal is to cover the questions that I've been asked in the last weeks, where I've been reading, I've been contributing and participating in debate, I've been answering questions that my clients have posed directly, and I am incredibly grateful for this opportunity that my life has given me, but also with the people I work with, to take my own questions, my personal opinion and reflections onto different levels. So I keep researching and I keep growing and I keep having more questions, and here I am. So throughout this week, I have that goal of covering these themes. I have a goal of answering to your questions, of staying connected with you despite of our social distancing. A social distancing that for us is a little bit more acute than to others. Some of us are still continuing with what will look like a normal life. We are still meeting each other. Others of us are actually confined to their homes, and it seems that it's been quite challenging for those of you who have been constricted in that space. And luckily, we have technology, and I believe that there is space to improve the way we connect by being very creative and basically expand, explore new ways of communicating and new ways of sharing what's really happening. So today in particular, I have selected few items of information that I'll be sharing with you that are more aimed at supporting your physical body. So what are the things that will be more useful to support you in these times where our body may need to overcome some physiological challenges, the factors from outside, and what are the tools that we have at our disposal that will help us not only resist disease, recover from the imbalances in our health, but also very likely to boost our immune system in order that we have even more resistance to disease in the future. There is another part of this support that I believe to be quite successful in keeping us healthy, that has to do with other tools that are not so much on the realms of nutrition, but have to be with lifestyle and things we can do to ourselves. And I will be sharing some of those as well with you today and in the days to follow. And then also my goal is to share with you tools that I use to keep myself calm, to connect with my own worries and my fears, to have a process that has me looking more what is really happening to me. And then thirdly, I will share with you tools that I find quite important when relating to others without missing this awareness of where I'm at, but also be able to have space enough within me to connect with other people, with other people's choices, with their opinions, with their fears and their values, which I find key at these times where there's so much information and so much contradiction within the information we are all receiving. Finally, and before I go into the details of the immunity boost, I also would like to announce that as circumstances dictate, I felt a big push to launch my online sessions. So this has been on my plan for 2020 for quite a long time. I see my clients on a one-to-one basis through internet, through the online tools we've got. I have my consultation room. It's lovely. It's a great part of my work and my ability to individualize each client's necessities. But also I find that as my audience has expanded and as I connect with people in different continents and with different lifestyles, I find that I like to make myself available for those that cannot see me on a one-to-one basis. Also, I really believe in the benefits of group sharing, group processes. And so I love giving workshops. I love being in group settings. And I see that there's some things that can be processed and learned and shared and supported when people come together, namely in my women's group, but also in my specific workshops that I've been giving throughout the years. And I would like to bring that more often without being so worried about finding the right time, the right location. London is a very challenging place to find the right location, as some of you know. And it's absolutely perfect that I can access, and I'm getting a little bit better at dealing with the technology of webinars. So I'm going to be launching that for next week, and you can join through a subscription. And during these days, from today till Friday, I'll be asking what are the things that you'd like to cover, why would like to work with me, and what is the format that best suits your requirements. I would like to work with you because I am incredibly stimulated by the real questions. And I have a lot of academic and information, academic data and information that I can share with you. I'm very happy for you to send me a message and I can send you the references of what I do. But where I really feel more alive is where I apply my skill set and my experience to the specifications that are brought with my clients and through the groups and workshops. So I'll be very, very willing to go through this new launch of this part of my work and supported you through that too. So what is this? What are we going through at the moment? From everything that I have been reading, it has been actually quite humbling and at the same time quite exciting for me, because I am a natural health consultant practicing for nearly 14 years now. But before that, my training was in biology, in the research branch, and I looked into how ecosystems work and to the physiological processes in the animal and plant world. And I have a high and deep training in microbiology and the functions of organisms. So through the challenges of the coronavirus, I had to pull the hat of the researcher, the biologist, and the questions came. And this webinar, and actually my whole work, is not so much based on sharing with you my insight as a biologist, but above all, the confirmation that I got from my biological training, from what I'm reading from scientific sources, and my understanding of physiological health, I am going to share with you what are the tools that you can put in place that will support your body, and specifically against the potential danger of a virus contamination. In the particular case of coronavirus, we know that actually it belongs to a wide range of virus. Many people I follow and I trust their work go a little bit deeper of what this means and what is really happening when people come in contact with this virus, with this type of virus, and how they develop the symptoms that ultimately are used to diagnose the infection by COVID-19, which is described as COVID-19. So you will have access to information of things that may be applied in your country for you to stay protected from the invasion. And so in some places it's been, you may find the recommendations to wear a mask, and then other sources will say masks don't work. The people say, yeah, don't go on public transports. And then other more recent information tells you that actually public transport, it's okay if one washes our hands very often. So there is a lot of confusion that may be derived from contradictory information that we are all accessing. Nevertheless, and despite the importance of keeping our mind open and cautious, and perhaps applying some of the strategies that were used in other times of epidemics and other times of big health challenges, as we have witnessed in the 20th century and before, today I'm going to share with you what I have been also sharing with my clients, but also it comes from my training as a nutritional therapist, where we look into which nutrients are the most efficient in keeping our immune system up to speed and in ability to keep regenerating our body. So my approach to health is very much about providing the body with the tools, with the skills as well, the ability to keep regenerating itself. First, by identifying the imbalance. That's very important. The body must have an ability to identify where the imbalance is and what type of imbalance is. Then we have our body ability to detoxify from the factors, from the toxins that may be causing further imbalance, and then the ability to regenerate the tissue that may have been affected by this toxicity. So the nutrients that are very, very important in this are normally lipid based, normally associated with fats, and the vitamin A is one of them. So make sure that your diet is rich in these nutrients I'm going to mention to you. And the first one I am mentioned is vitamin A. Vitamin A is great anti-inflammatory, and it has a use and an applicability to the regeneration of the membranes and the tissues. And vitamin A can be found, and I'm going to be using my notes because I tend to have so much information in my head as I am discussing these things with you that I may be missing, and I don't want to. So vitamin A can be found very easily on cod liver oil, and that is rich in natural vitamin A, in liver, and in butter. So another attention is that if you know about my work, you know that I am a non-restrictive nutritionist, and I'm going to be sharing this information from a scientific physiological perspective. Now, you may have a choice in your lifestyle to exclude some foods from your diet, and I will try to give you as many alternatives as possible, so those restrictions do not affect your access to the nutrients. Also, another alternative, if you choose not to eat the foods that I'm suggesting for you to access these highly dense, rich nutrients, you may also get some very good concentration and very good quality, high absorbability, as we say, supplements. And that is something that you may want to discuss with your nutritionist, with your practitioner. And here I'm just giving you a general information that I gather from my training, but also as my experience as I support clients. The other vitamin that is also a fat, let's simplify the terms, is vitamin D. And vitamin D can again be found in cod liver oil. It works really well with vitamin A and is very, very present in egg yolks. Again, in butter, in fish eggs. Fish eggs are very rich in vitamin D and other very important lipids. And also, if you eat and you can access organic, outdoor raised lard, sourced lard, that is also a wonderful food to access this vitamin. Vitamin D is obviously, as many of you already know, it's very well accessed by exposing your skin to direct sunlight. Even in days that are cold in the North Hemisphere at the moment, if you can access the sun as long as possible, keeping your body warm, just exposing your hands and your eyes without sun cream and without your sunshades, your sunglasses, be certain that every single light that can touch your skin will also increase your ability to produce vitamin D. Vitamin D is also highly produced in people that have a rich diet with cholesterol. So cholesterol is a wonderful nutrient that for many years has been given a very bad name, but now we know that cholesterol is a wonderful anti-inflammatory nutrient, and it can be again found in the best source is the egg yolk. The other very good fat that you can have to improve your ability to fight inflammation is coconut oil, because coconut oil has a structure that if you can access where you live, it will help you to manufacture all your inner metabolics that will help you against inflammation. Again, another way that as I mentioned, a very important tool in any process that has us prepared against contamination, against inflammation, is a bone broth that is rich in gelatin. So if you eat meat and if you have access and availability of a good bone broth rich in gelatin. And this has been proved by actually many colleagues of mine in experience and in clinic, that use collagen as a wonderful tool anti-inflammatory. And so in conditions that need support to the thyroid, that need regeneration of the tissue, degenerative conditions, collagen has been proved to be an amazing nutrient to provide and at the therapeutic level. And that's why I'm including this in my recommendations to you. There is also another thing that you may want to be adding to your diet if you haven't now, which is raw milk. And raw milk is a wonderful anti-inflammatory. It doesn't go off, it doesn't carry virus. And if you get an organic source, it's a wonderful thing to also add to your diet. It has a multi composition of nutrients that will help you not only absorb the nutrients that I've mentioned so far, but also others that will keep your body balanced and able to balance your flora, your gut flora, which is wonderful, the most amazing place in your body that will provide you with the tools to resist disease, particularly caused by microorganisms. And then the last big nutrient that everybody or most people know about is vitamin C. It's an antioxidant. Unfortunately, it doesn't stay in the body. We cannot accumulate vitamin C. But vitamin C is wonderful for all these three layers of immunity that I spoke to you about. Identification of inflammation, detoxifying, and as a regenerative tool. And vitamin C, very often we have it in higher concentrations through supplements, very good quality supplements. But also another wonderful source that very often is overlooked is fermented vegetables. Sauerkraut is one that is easily accessed in Europe. And sauerkraut is basically fermented cabbage. It's easy to make at home and it's pretty affordable to buy from organic food shops. Make sure it's organic, make sure that it's raw, that hasn't been pasteurized, which defeats the purpose. Sauerkraut is not only rich in vitamin C, but also it provides you with a wonderful support with microflora that will nourish your gut and will also therefore help you to be resistant to microorganisms that come into your body and are foreign to you. So this has to do with our wonderful ability that we have developed through thousands of years of evolution, where the human beings became collaborative with this infinite, almost infinite number of microorganisms that inhabit our body and that help us resist disease. So these are the main nutrients that are important. I have mentioned to you some of the most easily accessed sources for these nutrients. If you choose not to eat some of these foods, I would recommend, but again, speak to your practitioner, you to add a supplement of a very good quality of these nutrients to your diet. The good thing about having these nutrients accessed through foods is that also our body is more likely to recognize it as healthy, and the digestive processes are easily processed or metabolized, and so we have access to the nutrients easily. So that's why I really like to bring the evidence that it's good if you speak with a professional, because they will be able to tailor these recommendations to you. So this is really a great part of what I've been sharing with my present clients. People just send me a message and say, Adriana, what would you do in these occasions? And in fact, this is not new information. This is information that is being shared by professionals that follow my school of thought, but also it's a great part of my general recommendations for good health, particularly during the winter months where we have less access to antioxidative foods and we have less sun and we have less fresh air, and normally we are more vulnerable to these conditions. There's so many things I'd like to share with you. I also would like to underline the importance, if you can go out, even if for a few minutes a day, to get yourself with as much fresh air as possible. For those of us who live in cities, it's important that we find our spots where we can breathe freely. The breathing is one of the most important activities, tools, natural, automatically happening detoxifying process of our body. The breathing as well, when it's deep and calm, activates our parasympathetic system, which is the whole set of neurological and hormonal processes that helps us fight disease. So I really would like to have this high importance given to breathe, to the breathing, and for you to go outside and take a long breath in and allow your body to, in each breath, to regenerate the gases that you have within you that are nourishing your cells and to detoxify the ones that are no longer needed. So longer breath in fresh air is paramount to the health and to the maintenance of well-being. I have other recommendations that I'd like to share with you, and they are associated with general well-being, but I'd like again to underline them because we normally underestimate the immunity importance of these factors. And sun as something that I have already mentioned, fresh air, and then connection. There are things that are wonderful in increasing our hormonal levels of happy hormones. We call them happy hormones because they normally are associated with emotional states of happiness and joy, but also they are so the same way they are associated with our state of calmness and our state of healing. When we are healing, we produce these hormones in higher concentrations, and also when we produce these hormones, oxytocin and the endorphins and serotonin hormones in higher concentrations, we tend to have a different outlook, we tend to feel better, and we tend to have more availability to connect with others. So I'd like us to really take this on board at these times. And that's why it's so important for me to connect with others at this stage, to find myself the space and the availability to keep my human relationships as nourishing and as intimate as possible. Because not only I like that, not only I introduce that in my life, but also because I know it's good for my body and it's good for my health. So do not underestimate the importance of the time you dedicate to your loved ones. Let's say that in the trainings that I provide, when I teach about connection, when I teach about factors for health, I speak a lot about touch. And we will be talking about that in the future webinars, tools that I can have of connection even when I am not connecting face to face with my loved ones. So I have to adjust and adapt what I'm suggesting and I'm recommending to you from a health consultancy perspective to the circumstances that we are now going through. Yet I can tell you already that everything that every little energy and as little time that you can dedicate to your connections, it is well worth it. We'll be also talking about your I time, what I call my I time, time that I dedicate to myself, which will have me creating space, more awareness of what's going on for me in the next few days, and then actually from that place of awareness be able to connect with others with more openness. This is very, very much the statement of today. The foods that you can introduce in your diet, continue to add to your diet, that will provide you with the most efficient nutrients to help you through these times of potential contamination with viral material. And this is what we're talking about. Talking about bringing and building resilience to the potential contact with the virus and to come out of the potentiality of inflammation, not only healthier, but also with the internal nutrients that will have you keeping your health for longer. Another point of attention that I like to bring as well is that it is not by chance that these nutrients are very useful to keep a healthy emotional mental state. Our brain loves saturated fats. Our brain loves the, the, the access to precursors of the hormones of happiness. And those are provided by the nutrients I mentioned to you: vitamin A, vitamin D, and cholesterol. Wonderful, wonderful set of fatty acids that are provided within the seafood chain. The DHAs are very important also for our brain function. So what I've noticed in clinic is that mental imbalance and mental, let's say, conditions are very often associated with also physical imbalances. And I trust, and I've observed, and I've confirmed this strategy that when we support our body physically with these anti-inflammatory nutrients, as I call them, we are also supporting our brain, our glands' ability to regenerate. Therefore, we are making sure that our hormonal system, that our immunological response, and that our emotional balance is supported. So this is, again, another little hint of how these things are important and why I share them on a regular basis when we're talking about boosting our immune system. There's one more thing that normally I leave to the end, which is to do what are the things that we ought to avoid. And for me, very important, and they are so natural to me to avoid. I am allergic and intolerant, and it's because it's these two main things. And one are industrial fats, and the other is sugar in generally. And now, why is this the case? So the case is that when the body is flooded with wonderful foods, the body can decide and normally has this inner intelligence to really allocate these wonderful foods and these wonderful nutrients to the places that need to go and need to be rebalanced quickly. But when our diet is also packed with industrial fats that very likely carry a high concentration of trans fatty acids and other artificial molecules, and sugar in general, things that transform themselves into sugar in our body, our organs have more difficulty in allocating the right nutrients to where they need to go. So on any therapy or any strategies to maintain and to assure a good wellness, I would really recommend to avoid these two main I don't like to call it nutrients because they are not that useful. I do not like to call them foods because artificial, industrialized fats should not be considered foods because they are ultimately not edible. But be careful with having them in your diet, as they provide with confusion. This is the way I like to talk about them. They provide with confusion, and they waste our organs' attention and focus, because our organs will have to make a much bigger effort to deal with them. In particular, for example, the liver. I can tell you that the liver is an organ that works wonderful with fats, but if there is sugar in the system, the liver shifts the metabolism to deal with the sugar. Sugar can be a very oxidative molecule in our body, so the liver does what it's designed to do, and therefore misses the processes that will have us assuring the right absorption of nutrients that are the fats and not the sugar. So keep this in mind. And then also the other factor is that we'll be talking in the next few days is about fear. So the other toxic, let's say, non-nutrient to our body is fear. I have had many occasions in my life where fear was my main, and I still have, main emotion. Yet I have witnessed how, by dealing with fear, the strategies that I have developed to deal with my own fear have helped me to come out empowered, present, very connected with my needs, and feeling much more prepared to deal with the potential challenges, and also to provide to my body and to my mind the tools I need to go over that fear, and therefore flood myself with the hormones that have me more in the health path rather than the suppressed and the contract and the anxious path, which is normally associated with disease. So fear is definitely very present at the moment for many of us, and it's definitely a subject I want to dedicate one of my future webinars this week. Don't hesitate in sending me what you'd like to know and that you think that I can support you and give you my reflection on the subject. And let's tailor-made this for those of you who can join me. And in the meantime, start thinking of joining my online group starting on Monday. The link is in the description of this video. Join there. I'll be sending you information first. Those of you who first subscribed are the ones receiving the information the more immediately. And I look forward to not only have you here on these webinars, but also on the group chats that we'll be having with open discussions and themed to the matters that you are more interested. Stay connected, send me message. We are here, we are together, we'll do this. We are definitely going to do this. So all the best, and stay healthy, stay connected. Bye-bye.